Hello, Kootenai County. We're here with one of your candidates for City Council for the City of Hayden, and this is DePriest. He is currently sitting as City Council member.
Hayden, seat number 2.
Great. We have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
That I'm sure the public would be very interested in hearing from you. So
okay.
Here's the first one. Why are you running for office?
Well, I'm very concerned about the future of the city of Hayden. And this election is about leading Hayden. The individual elected should represent all of the citizens of Hayden and not just a small ideological group of people. And I want to represent all of the citizens of Hayden. My opponent is a KCRCC endorsed ideologue, and I fear that should the KCRCC ideologues get into the majority, that they will quite possibly take Hayden down the same road that the KCRCC endorsed North Idaho College trustees took the college a while back, and I really want to hopefully prevent that from happening. My 4 zone code text amendments and standard of approval, all of which were adopted, have led the city to better manage growth and density, which was my primary campaign issue last time, and I accomplished that. And since those changes, there have been 0 high-density or multifamily developments approved in the last 4 years in the city of Hayden. And I accomplished everything I campaigned on last time, and I intend to do the same this time.
Great. We don't live in the city of Hayden, but we are close by, so everything you guys do really affects us, so I appreciate that. Your second question is, what are your top 3 priorities should you be reelected?
Well, I have 3, and the number 1 issue that's about to hit the citizens of Hayden big time is going to be the significant costs to the taxpayers of Hayden. Significant increases in law enforcement, and the city has approximately $55 million in road, intersection, sewer, and infrastructure improvements on their 5-year capital improvement plan. The city, I believe, needs to come to a realistic number and put that number on the ballot for the people to tell the city how much they want to pay for what services and what quality of life they want to live. Number 2 is to continue to finish up the amendments to the comprehensive plan and future land use map. We still have to determine exactly what type of housing will be in a lot of the as yet undeveloped areas and some of the smaller infill areas. The city recently amended the comprehensive plan's goals and policies to limit where and how much of the mixed use or high density can be, but we need to finish up implementing that and actually putting it on the future land use map. Number 3 is addressing and finding solutions to the traffic issues that we have within the city of Hayden. We have streets like Government Way, Hayden Avenue, Hutter, Atlas, which are almost always very crowded. And part of the issue is not so much what's happening in the Hayden, but our neighboring cities. And you mentioned it a minute ago, what happens in your neighboring cities affects the other neighboring cities. And
it does.
Right now we're getting a lot of pass-through traffic from Post Falls and Coeur d'Alene, but we need to come up with a solution, and part of that is that $55 million in road and intersection improvements that we need to find a solution to.
Great. So the next question, I think it's important to everyone in Kootenai County, but especially in Hayden. The rapid growth that's happening, it's a discussion that everyone is having. So what would you recommend to mitigate the impact of the growth that we're having in North Idaho and in your case, the city of Hayden, including the roads, healthcare, fire department?
Yes. Well, number 1, the city cannot stop people from moving to Hayden. Okay. You can't shut the door, and everybody wants to close the gate now that they're here, but you can't stop people from coming here. Each city develops their own comprehensive plan related to growth. Okay. What Post Falls does, Coeur d'Alene does, we cannot influence. And as I said a moment ago, we're all affected by each other, but each city does their own thing. I believe that the changes that I've mentioned already, the zoning changes and standard approval, especially related to the higher density development, which is basically zero in the last 4 years, the city of Hayden has done all that we can legally do related to managing growth. And that's the key word, legally.
Okay.
People often talk about, well, do this, a moratorium. Well, the moratorium, even if you could, is only good for 6 months. And you have to be able to cure it and come up with a plan to cure it. So I believe the city has legally done all that we can do. I've already talked about the zone code and standard of approvals, which has resulted in zero. Any development in the last 4 years in Hayden has been 4 dwelling units or less. Okay, and that's about as low as you're going to get. And it's been by prior annexation agreement or prior development agreement or by property rights of the landowner. So there's not much the city can do related to that type of what is known as sprawl, because usually 4 dwellings covers a lot of acreage, okay, but it's not high density. I would recommend, and I've reached out to some of the council members and people on planning commissions at our neighboring cities, that they look at what we've done related to our zone code changes and our standards of approval that have resulted in the zero high density in 4 years. Can't force them to do it, but that's what I would recommend related to that. There's a much misunderstood concept here in Idaho, and people are always saying, make growth pay for growth. What people do not understand is that the state tells the cities what impact fees they can collect and how much they can collect. The city cannot arbitrarily create a fee and an amount of that fee. If the people want to have development pay more for itself, they must get to the state legislators and lobby them to allow the cities to then charge those impact fees. Currently, Hayden, by state law, is only allowed to collect impact fees for roads and parks, and if we had a police department, say, for capital law enforcement improvements.
Okay. And the fourth question is also one that's very important to me. The continued increase of property taxes is one of the most concerning for homeowners. What are your suggestions on how to pay for city services while trying to maintain lower property taxes to ensure that the homeowners can still stay in their home?
Well, here comes the hard, unpopular truth. Okay, Hayden still has and has historically had by far the lowest tax rate in all the county. I mean, 2/3 less than what our surroundings, somewhere in that neighborhood. And the unpopular truth is that low rate has finally caught up with the city of Hayden. Okay. The truth is that the city is faced with enormous potential increases, primarily in law enforcement and in the $55 million in roads and infrastructure needs. The people, again, should make the decision, and I keep harping on this because it was one of my campaign issues last time, and it is this time. Any base tax increases, I will advocate to put on the ballot to let the people tell us, do you want to pay for this or not? The city needs to continue providing areas for commercial and business growth, which they have. There's a commercial park south of Lancaster, Warren Park, I believe it is, and a lot of the zoning in the surrounding the airport is for new business, light industrial and the like. And the more business that comes to Hayden, the more it will hopefully shift the burden from residential to business. So the more business we can bring in, the better off it's going to be for the residential. Look at the budget. I advocate that people actually look at the budget. Hayden runs a pretty lean budget. There's not a lot of fluff in it. People say, well, cut services. Well, what services do you want to cut? Do you want to reduce road maintenance? Do you want to reduce snow plowing? Do you want to reduce law enforcement? Do you want to eliminate the recreation department, which serves about 1,000 kids each year and is kind of a glue for our community? What day-to-day operations do people want to cut? Because that's what your taxes are paying for.
Okay, and your question number 5, what is your background and how will it help the city should you be reelected?
Well, I'm finishing up my 4th year as a city councilman. Again, I accomplished everything that I campaigned I would. I get things done. I do what I say I'm going to do, and my campaign slogan is promises made, promises kept. And I believe that that's exactly what I've done. I've put forth those changes that have resulted in zero high density. I put the tax issues on the ballot rather, for the people to vote, which they did. I've learned a lot in the 4 years, and probably the most important thing is I have a very good understanding of the legal aspects of managing the city, especially related to growth. I have a very good understanding of the Idaho State Local Land Use Planning Act and state land use laws. I understand the budget process. I've been available to all the citizens, whether it's in person, emails, phone, face-to-face meetings, and I've even had periodic community meetings. I understand the importance of gathering input from the people and then incorporating that input in decision-making. And again, I understand that I represent all of the citizens of Hayden and not a small particular ideological group of driven voters.
Okay, good. And then lastly, give us your closing statement. Anything that we didn't ask that you would like to cover, and take your time with that.
Sure, and I appreciate this. I believe that this November's election is possibly the most important in the history of the city of Hayden. The outcome will take the city in possibly two diametrically opposed directions. I represent all of the citizens of Hayden, regardless of party, regardless of ideology. My opponent is a KCRCC-endorsed party soldier. He touts being a KCRCC parliamentarian. He will represent party ideology, not the best interest of all of Hayden's citizens. I truly believe that if the KCRCC-endorsed Luke Summer and Sandy White are elected, they will take Hayden down the same road that the KCRCC-endorsed North Idaho College trustees took to college, forcing out good staff and replacing them with unqualified, like-minded ideologues, playing fast and loose with statutes, codes, and policies, which will result in expensive taxpayer-funded lawsuits and judgments. My opponent is saying that Hayden has not managed growth and density. I ask him to show proof, because not only has Hayden not had any high density in the last 4 years, only development has been 4 dwellings per acre or less. Low density is often sprawl. It covers a lot of acreage. It's been approved with previous annexation agreements, development agreements, and by property rights of the landowner. I challenge him to tell us where the city has approved high density. I challenge him to tell us with specifics how the city can legally prevent by right sprawl. Does my opponent understand the difference between high density and sprawl? I challenge him to tell us with specifics what the city can legally do that the city has not done to better manage growth. When I was elected 4 years ago, I campaigned on better managing growth and in particular density. I did just that. Promises made, promises kept. It's all in the record and it's all verifiable. Here's the latest copy of the Hayden Community Development Report. 0 multifamily or high density in the last 4 years since the changes that I put forth were adopted. Look at the Hayden Community Development Report and see the truth. I campaign on putting the base tax increases on the ballot for the people, and I will continue to do that. The city is facing significant challenges related to law enforcement costs and levels of service. 2 years ago, the sheriff presented the city with several options and costs for those options. The city gave those options to the Public Safety Commission, and the Public Safety Commission recommended the city select the 10-deputy option. The option was put on the ballot, and the $534,000 increase to the base tax per year resulted in the current contract for services of $954,000. Now, a few months ago, the county commissioners have told the city that a 10-deputy level of service will cost between $1.8 and $2 million, more than double what the sheriff told the city it would cost. The people are again going to have to go to the ballot and decide what level of service they want to pay for, and I will again put that question on the ballot. I've already talked about the $55 million in road, intersection, sewer, and infrastructure improvements, And if the people want to deal with the traffic situation, that is going to be a very big issue. Most likely a bond or something. I will put that on the ballot for the people. My opponent is telling people that the city is not fair, not transparent. Everything that the city is legally allowed to provide to the citizens, they do provide, either by in-person viewing, whether audio, video recordings, minutes of meetings, on the city website, or by request. I challenge my opponent again to specifically tell us where the city is not providing everything that they are legally allowed to provide. Don't vote for what you receive in the mail. Don't vote for what people tell you. Be an educated voter. Do your research for yourself. I can prove everything that I say with verifiable facts. Can my opponent show verifiable facts of what he claims? I will be honest, even if it's unpopular, as is the issues we're facing with law enforcement and the $55 million. It's not popular, but it's something that we have to deal with. I will keep the promises that I make. Please don't let Hayden become the next North Idaho College. Please vote for Ed DePriest, and I thank you.
So there you have it, City of Hayden residents and voters, please get out to vote, and I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elsa.
You're welcome.